So we've been doing a whole series of what you can do with marinara sauce. And I showed you how to make marinara, and we did a bolognese, and I don't know what all we did. We made a bunch of stuff. Well, here's another recipe that you can use if you've got some marinara baked in your freezer, which I keep all the time. Now, the other cool thing about this recipe is that it also uses one of my best budget stretchers, which is ground beef. You can buy ground beef for very little, and if you have some yummy stuff to kind of stretch it out with, then it goes a really long way. That's awesome. Now, finally, we're going to talk about a very classic comfort food dish that I've taken and put a few twists on. We're going to make stuffed peppers, but they're not going to be those hockey puck, green, mushy, kind of bitter, funky. No, we're not doing that. These are going to be delicious and flavorful, and while I will say my 8-year-old won't eat them, almost everybody else will. So that's a pretty good deal right there. Now, this is easy, easy, easy. We start out with the ground beef over here, and I've got about 1.5 pounds. Now, this is going to make 8 generous servings, so that's a pretty good deal right there with a little bit of ground beef. Now, to that, we're going to use some classic fillers. Can you get a look at my bowl? Rice, and I've got about 1 cup of white rice. I have 1 medium small onion that I'm chopped up. 1/2 cup of this Italian style breadcrumbs. Now, if you happen to have made your own breadcrumbs, great. Just throw a teaspoon of Italian seasoning in there. I ran out of stale bread to work with, so I went with the store-bought. All right, now, when you're making anything with ground beef, where you're going to be making a mixture, you don't want to overmix the ground beef because that will make it tough, and you'll end up with a very dense, compacted filling. That's not nice. Give yourself a lot of real estate to work with and kind of break up your beef. Well, don't go throwing it on the counter. Break up your beef as much as you can because we're going to add the rest of our seasonings in here. And we're going to mix and do it lightly and thoroughly once. Okay, so garlic powder. I couldn't quite tell. I think I wrote the recipe out and it said 2 teaspoons. I guarantee that's more like a tablespoon. And this is onion powder. And again, it was 2 teaspoons. A teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of kosher salt, 2 eggs. Go ahead and squish them up a little bit. Slap them around before you put them in there. They mix up better. And that's a little more than 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. Hey, look, if you've got the good Parmesan cheese, knock yourself out. Go ahead and use it. I don't. I have the cheap cheese. So the one thing you want to look out for is if you get it, go ahead and buy the one that says no fillers and that it makes sure that it says 100% Parmesan. Okay, all I'm going to do is mix this up real thoroughly, and then we're going to come back in a second. We're going to stuff these peppers. Okay, so we mix this up, and this is all the filling looks like when you mix it up. See, super simple. And when you're picking out your ground beef, don't go lower than like 85% lean, because in this case the fat really has nowhere to drain off, so keep it 90 to 93 if you can, because it's going to end up in your dish. Of course, fat's flavor, so it will probably taste good. Alright, now typically stuffed peppers are done with green bell peppers, and you cut the top off and fill the whole thing, and then you end up with 8 very large monstrous servings. It's too much. I don't know why. I didn't think of this a long time ago. Cut them in half this way. You're going to make a little boat. You have less pepper per stuffing. Everybody I've tried it on seems to like it better. And another trick to get rid of that little bitter pop that peppers often have, blanch these. Just hit them in hot boiling water for about 2 minutes. Drain them off. Excuse me a minute. I got to get my bread out of the oven. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I had bread that really smells good now. Alright, so you're blanching the peppers, and instead of going with just the green, now often green peppers are less expensive around here than the colored ones. This time I got lucky. I found colored peppers that were less than the green. Now, the more colorful your diet, the better it is for you. So this is my reasoning behind this. Besides, it looks pretty. I like the colored peppers more than the green ones anyway. Okay, so super easy at this point. And I'm probably going to end, yep, I'm just going to get in here and use my hands. This is all you have to do. Take in handfuls of these, and you're just going to divide it up evenly into your little boats. I wonder why yellow peppers seem to be smaller than the others. I thought most of the time it just depended on how long you left the pepper on the vine as to whether or not it went ahead and turned green, but that doesn't really make sense if some of them are yellow first and some of them are not yellow, meaning red or orange or something else. So this is it. Get as much of them, almost shorted one of my peppers. Almost, not quite. Okay, so here's the cool thing about the marinara sauce. Now, if you don't have marinara, and it's a more traditional thing to do this, is simply take plain tomato sauce and add, I don't know, to a can of tomato sauce, about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of Italian seasoning, dried Italian seasoning. I happen to like the marinara. This has a richer, fuller taste. What is traditional is a little vinegar. That's about a quarter cup of vinegar to 3.5, 4 cups of the marinara. And we're going to stir this, and this creates the sauce that you put over your peppers, just like this. So we're going to bake these. This is about half baking and half braising. And you have something in the middle that's like a really beautifully flavored meatloaf. And you've got the depth of flavor in that marinara, which is so much better than store-bought. And it's better than the tomato sauce. Trust me on that one. Okay. Last up, a little more Parmesan cheese. And you don't need much. Okay, that's going to get pretty and golden right over the top. Now, I've got a 350-degree oven. And I'm going to pop these in anywhere. And it depends on the size of the peppers and the accuracy of your oven. And I happen to have broken my thermometer, but I know for a fact that my oven takes about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes. Okay. Okay, so 350-degree oven, and we're going to stick it in there, and I'm going to actually just walk away. But I will come back and show you what they look like.
Good.
They smell good. This one, that one. Okay. They're pretty. I want a pretty one. They're all pretty. I want a pretty one with color. All right, here we go. These had about an hour and 20 minutes. And they're hot, hot. Okay. So, let's see how we did on the inside. Oh yeah. Look at that. See? That is not your average stuffed pepper. Except I'm going to steal some sauce. It's hot. I'm going to burn my mouth. It's worth burning your mouth over. Okay, if you want the recipe, check out the website because it's already up and on there. And you can subscribe to me on YouTube, and you can find me on iTunes now.